So easy. This is a fun, this to me is like one of the most versatile folds. And it's a very fun project because it's really not hard. And it's so many, you can make so many variations with just little small changes. So I'll show you kind of, this is where I have, it's in this book. And it's actually, this book was a book I wrote in 2009. This is the checkbook cover. It actually holds my checkbook and the size. So we're not gonna fold the checkbook cover today because I don't have that size paper, but I'm gonna give you the sizes. Basically, essentially, the fold is exactly the same in every single case. It's just the size of the papers. So for the case this one here, this one, just so if you want to do a checkbook cover that fits the standard checkbook cover, just write these down. This is a 12-inch by 17-inch sheet of paper that I use to make that. So if you get some paper large enough, you can make a really cool checkbook cover. It also holds money or, like gift cards and things like that. Let me just get everybody, okay. So that's that size. And then if you want to do, for today, what we're gonna do is we're doing the business card, or it's actually not a business card, it's more of it's like a gift card or credit card size, which is the size we're gonna fold today. This is a 8.5 by 11. So it's something that you should hopefully have, even if you don't have that kind of paper, just cut something to 8.5 by 11 or 9 by 12, something, or A4, I think that's what it's called. That actually will hold your gift cards, hotel keys, which I haven't gone in a while, but there's one. Yeah, gift cards and licenses. Like if you want to bring just a few things on a walk, you don't want to take your whole wallet. Just throw, maybe your ID and a couple of things. But this is a very nice, versatile fold. We're going to do this size. If you make them just slightly different in size, you get different configurations. And what's great about it is you can put corners on them to fortify them. You can paint the other side of the paper. So this is just the basic fold, but there's so many things you can do with it. And this little guy, I folded it slightly in a different direction and I got a different dimension. So these two were the same size papers, but it's just the way I folded it. So I'm going to explain that. Why it works like that. So this is cute. This can hold tags or mini checkbooks, mini checks. No, there aren't such a thing, but this one I'm going to make a book. So this is also, these are great little book covers. And if you remember, in fact, I'm going to grab this thing real quick. This little book that we made last week, this little guy right here, we're going to do another, I'm going to actually do a class in May where we're going to do this little swatch book. We're going to do watercolor swatches. We're going to make the book and we'll construct the cover. And it's either going to be this cover or another one. But what's nice about if we do a small version of this, we can take the inside pages and tuck them in on both sides. Of course, this would be a smaller cover, of course, but just so you get the idea, this becomes a really nice little book cover. Okay, so of course, that's a little odd there, but you can kind of see where we're going with that. So let's go ahead and get started on the fold. And I've got 3 sheets of paper here. I've got a 6-inch square, so I'll show you how we can do it with a 6-inch square, just standard origami paper. And these are 8.5 by 11 sheets. So I'll start with this pretty one with the arrows on it. And the way, there's actually 2 ways that we're going to fold this. I'm going to do my very first time when I was first, I figured this case out, I diagrammed it myself. And I'll scan this and put it in to our PDFs on the club, just so that we'll have it, because this is my diagram and I have every right to, the size of the book cover. Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to find that out. I think it may be the 6 by 6, but we'll find out.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sure. But we'll definitely have that figured out. Really important things is we do make a spine edge on these. You notice they lay flat. And so we want to make sure our book covers are big enough to, especially for a thick See how that's a very thick spine edge? We want to make sure that our book covers have a thick spine. So it's kind of like, it's going to be a hit and miss, a little formula to try to figure that out, but it will be done and we'll have some, we'll be able to do it. So I'm going to do the one that's the card case, the first one. And this is actually really more of a 9x12, but 8.5 by 11 is actually the perfect size. So definitely take an 8.5 by 11 piece. And what you want to do is just going to take it with the color or pattern side down, and you're just going to fold it in half. And then you're going to open it up, and you're going to fold the two edges to the center on both sides. And then you're going to open them up, and you're going to make little hems, like about, you know, 1/2 inch, 3. It really doesn't matter, but you know, maybe like 3/8 to 1/2 inch. You can even go bigger, but it's all a matter of how you want to, how much white you want showing. But I do about, this is about a little more than 1/2 inch. And all I'm trying to do is make sure it's kind of straight across. So I've got this hem on this side, and I'm going to repeat it on the other side. I'm going to have a hem on this side. And there's no real measurement, you know, you don't have to get a ruler out or anything. It's still going to work. So now I'm going to take the corners, these 4 corners, and I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to fold I'm going to fold these corners right to that first crease. So or that crease that's right along here. So I'm just going to fold here on this side, and I'm going to do it on all 4 corners. I'm just folding to this closest crease that I keep, the closest one to the edge. I'm doing that on this side too, both sides. Okay, so now that I've done that, what I'm doing is I'm not going to create new creases. I'm just going to fold these back onto I'm folding them right back onto I can't speak today. I don't know what's going on. So basically we're folding back onto itself, not creating new creases. So now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over, the solid side facing up, and you're going to make about a 1 inch fold here, a little bit more than 1 inch. I'd say more like it's about 1 1/4 inches, I guess. So let me just make sure. I'm going to give you, I'm just going to take my ruler and look at it, and it's about 1 1/8 actually. So that is about 1 1/8 of it, you know, give or take 1 to 1 1/8, not too much bigger and too much smaller, but make a hem on one side. And just give that a nice turn or crease right up at the top, and turn it around. Turn it so that this folded edge is facing away from you. And now what you're going to do is take this whole top, this whole bottom, just bring it up and bring that top to just meet, you don't like basically to lay right on top of that folded edge, but I actually leave a little room. So I'm just going to place my hands right here, and now I'm going to just crease it, the whole thing. I'm going to give that a really good crease. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is just take this edge, I just folded it, and I'm going to put the little corners, each corner into that little pocket that I just created at the top. And you can see now everything's tucked in and it's there. And now the next step, we're really just about finished. The next step is we're going to create the spine edge, because right now if I just folded this in half, it would just pop open. And it doesn't really work very well. So I'm going to make a spine edge. And then how I'm going to do that, I'm just going to fold this edge, and I'm going to take it about, and depending on how big I want my spine edge, I've got about, it's hard to see, but that's about, I'll get my ruler again. That is about 3/8 of an inch below the top folded edge. So basically I'm bringing this, so I'm just going to kind of mark where I'm doing it. If you can kind of see, where that top of that ruler edge is, that's where I'm gonna put my edge. And now I'm gonna crease. I'm gonna crease it very well, and then I'm gonna turn the whole thing over. I'm not unfolding anything right now. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna just kind of mark. I'm only doing this because it's hard for you to see it on the camera, but I'm gonna take the top edge, and I'm just gonna fold. I'm gonna bring this edge right. Actually, I want it to be. So here's the top edge on this bottom layer. I'm just gonna about 3/8 of an inch, not even that, maybe. So I see how it's below that. I'm gonna take this edge, and I'm just gonna lay it right there so that it meets this edge here. And now I'm gonna crease. And then what that does is it gives you a spine edge. You can see now I have an edge that is flat, and the book or the card case, the book cover, whatever it's gonna be for you is going to it's gonna fold and lay flat. And this, of course, this one is perfect size for those cards, gift cards, IDs, licenses, all that. And you even have room to put one of those little metal corners if you want to reinforce the corners with decorative metal quarters. That really is great. What I like to do is I like to have my paper decorated on both sides. So after I've folded it, what you can do is you just unfold it, and you can take some acrylic paint or anything you want. You can kind of go in here and just paint just the areas that are exposed with some acrylics, and then fold it back, and you have this beautiful double-sided. This will be gone. I feel like I want to do one, but we'll do some more. I was going to show you how I do it, but let's just move on to the other sizes real quick. So we've got this one, and I really like this one. It's some scrapbook paper that I bought. I like it because it all has this like kind of native, like Native American motifs, and they're really fun. That's really I think I cut that as a 9x12, but 8.5 by 11 is a little bit tiny, a little bit smaller, but it still works as well. So it's basically a rectangle shape of paper. Now, if I'm going to do it the other way, where we get the same, we're going to fold it slightly different. So it's more of an elongated one. I'm going to show you that. This is with the same size paper that I just used. So if you have 8.5 by 11, grab one of those. And this time, we're going to do it a little differently. It's very similar. And I see someone has said, let's see. So, okay, I already answered that question. Okay. So now you take your paper, and we're going to, this time, instead of folding it in half this way, we're going to fold it in half with the color side up or the pattern side up, fold it in half lengthwise. Okay, and now you're going to take the top edge, just the top layer, and you're going to fold it down to the bottom edge. Just fold that top edge to meet the bottom edge. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to just take this edge, and I'm going to fold that down. So what I have basically is kind of a zigzag thing going here. So if I unfold it, and I just take my edges, and I'm going to make those little hems. So just a slightly over 1/4 of an inch hem. We can go thicker. We're making the hems on the longer side. It's opposed to the first one we did. We had it on the short side. So this is going to look a little different, and it's going to function different. But the folds are essentially exactly the same. It's just one is a horizontal orientation, the other one's a vertical. So this is this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold. Trying to remember. Oh yeah, I forgot. So now we're going to fold the corners just like we did on the first one. Folding those corners on all 4 corners to that first crease. Okay, now we're good, right? Now I'm just going to take this, I'm going to fold it these in just like what we did before, but now you can see this is a much longer and skinnier piece. And in this one, we can determine the length of however we want this to be. There's ways, like if you have, the way I got this one to fit my checkbook is I actually measured my checkbook. Well, this is gonna be too skinny, too thin for a checkbook, but this is how you determine the length of something. So if you have a card or a tag or something where you want to, let's see, in fact, I might even grab a tag. I don't think I have one. So here's a tag. This is just a piece of paper, but it just gives you the idea of how I size this. So let's say I want it this long, or I want it to fit something like this. What I do is I'm going to make one fold, right, a little bit longer, not too, and make one fold just right away. I'm going to just do this fold, and then I'm going to make the next fold just a little bit longer than that. Now, see, now I've got these two folds. So basically now I know it's going to fit that card. And the next thing is just to tuck in. You can decide which side you want. Do you want the long side or the short side? It really doesn't matter, but you're going to use those pockets. And you tucked in these pockets. So now you see what we're doing. We're going to create that checkbook style. And same thing with this one. If you see it's bunching, by the way, and I noticed something, it does tend to bunch when you try to tuck it in. How I fix that is I take my edges and I'm just going to narrow the edges a little. And how I do that is I'm pulling it a little bit and then I'm going to recrease it. And what it does is I'm going to pull it a little bit and then recrease. And what I'm doing is I'm narrowing this edge here. I'm getting that to go in a little, and that will make this part lay much better. And we'll just tuck it back in. See, now it lays flat, which before it was completely bunching up. So it's really nice now. If you want to double stick tape or glue this little part, or just leave it because it's like a little secret pocket. And now the same thing with this one. I'm going to do what I did with the last. I'm just going to bring this edge here just to show you, to make the spine edge. I'm going to bring this part here, and I'm just going to bring it to meet a little bit right to that edge here. And I'm only showing I don't normally do that. I just kind of eyeball it, but there we go. So that's going to give us about like a little under a ½ inch spine. And I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold that edge below the top edge. And the same thing, I've got a nice little spine edge here. And you could even decorate the spine edge if you want I like doing it with paints because I just think the acrylic paint really holds it. So this is the long version, and like if it was a bigger sheet of paper, it could be a checkbook, or money holder, gift card, anything like that. But for now, it fits my little thing. Except I just realized it's a little. This is too fat, so I do need to take in consideration the spine edge. If it didn't have a spine edge, it would have folded fine. Because I have a spine edge, I have to make this a little bit more narrow, but it does fit pretty much in other ways. So the next one is the little 6-inch, and it's the same folding, but now we have a square. So if you have a piece of origami paper, I'm going to fold with the pattern side down, and I'm folding in half. Just nice in half. I'm opening it up. And I'm going to bring these folds to this cupboard folds right to the center, just like we did. It's the same folding sequence, but now I'm doing it with a square. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to make a little hem on either side. This can be with a 12-inch square too, if you wanted to do a larger 12-inch, any size. And now, same thing. 4 corners get folded to that first crease. And there. And now we just fold it back on itself like that. And then the same thing, we're going to just take a little, you can make it as short or as long as you want. In this one, I'm going to fold it where this little diagonal begins or ends, just to kind of make it, I don't know, make it look better. And so what I have now are two pockets on either side here that I can tuck everything into. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to just go as far as I can, right up to the top, and crease it. And the same thing, I'm going to probably narrow this a little bit just to make that so it lays flat. Just a little bit of narrowing. There we go. And it's only a smidgen, it's not much. You can see if you look at it, there's a little slight change in the size, but it's good enough so that it won't buckle. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to just tuck those in. And now, in this one, I'm going to make a little spine on this one. Just a little one, just enough so that it will kind of lay flat. And that's about a 1/16 of an inch of a spine that we're creating. So just fold it down about a 1/16 of an inch below the edge. And what I have now is a cute little, what I use this for, I'll show you what I use this for. Where are they? So for my stamps, if I want to save, of course, these are on stickers, but these are really nice to hold stamps, postage stamps. Yeah, the ones that aren't on stickers, of course. Or if you want to cut out your sticker, these are kind of cool. See, I like these. I like this new set of stickers or stamps. But these hold stamps, or they'll hold little threads. And again, let me see if this is close. So it's not quite, for this little book that we're going to do, it's not quite the size, but it's getting close. So I'm thinking it'll be probably like a 6x8. But like I said, I'll verify. But because it needs to be longer this way. But that's kind of where we're going with that. We'll get the right size for you so we can create cute little color swatch books.